Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And bah humbug, we're going to talk about those pre-Christmas layoffs at Hasbro and how they've impacted Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering in particular. Now, this is pretty interesting because we've been talking about how D&D stuff is winding up at Ollie's all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. And bought you all those things.
Yeah,
you bought two of them.
I bought two of myself.
And then I bought you the Warriors of Krynn.
Yeah, that was a $100 board game. $8, I think.
Yeah, it was on sale 20% off, so I got it for $7.99.
$7.99 for, like, that's less than the cost of manufacturing, I'm sure. But, you know, I never thought I'd see a day where D&D stuff was languishing on the shelves at Ollie's discount bargain outlet for people who like good stuff cheap or mediocre
good stuff cheap.
Cheapish. So we're going to talk about this because, yeah, they've laid off in D&D and Magic, and this is the one area they said that they were going to bank on, right? Remember that? Mm-hmm. They were like, you know, yeah, it doesn't matter if our toy business fails. We've got D&D and we've got Magic the Gathering, and those things are fine. Well, no, apparently they're not fine. They've laid people off, including some of the people that authored 5e, which is their highest selling version of the game.
Did they lay off the person who called the Pinkertons?
I don't know. That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
I have reactivated the second chance offer for Crimson Wren, and previously on Clownfish TV, graphic novels. You can go out to shopclownfish.com, click the link in the description. I got to update the date on it, but that will be open for another month yet, guys. A second chance to grab copies of those books.
They're
if you
in
missed
stock. So we're sending them as you order.
Yes, so they'll be sent out in a reasonable amount of time. So just to remind you guys, Hasbro cut 1,100 jobs this week, and that's like 20% of their staff, and they had another 17% layoff, I think, in the beginning of the year or in the spring. They're bleeding out money, right? Well, everybody was under the impression they were going to go all in on board games. They're going to go all in on Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons and all that. No, apparently not. Apparently they're cutting a lot of people from Wizards of the Coast. Uh-oh. So
they cut off people that decided to make coffee shops and prom.
Coffee. Can you imagine? I really wish that supplement, I forget what, Strixhaven, I think it was. I wish that supplement was at Ollie's. I would have bought it for $3 just to have a chuckle. Just to have a chuckle.
It might have been in the book section. I never checked the book section.
I don't know. We'll have to look and see. As far as I know, it's just that stuff. Those
I never looked in the books, to be honest. I didn't do that.
We'll have to go look. I'm sure we'll see more stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more D&D stuff get dumped off at Ollie's. This is wave one.
A lot of Hasbro stuff in general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the Hasbro landfill at this point. Hasbro's Christmas layoffs have deeply impacted the D&D and Magic teams, according to Polygon. And they said that, yeah, they had 800 layoffs earlier this year and another 1,100. And Chris Cox said in a memo to his employees that was shared with Polygon, we anticipated the first 3 quarters to be challenging, particularly in toys. Where the marketing is coming off historic pandemic-driven highs. But people thought the games were going to be fun.
Well, I would argue the opposite, because like they were coming off of that, but they also said that during the pandemic, that's when they were like hitting these record numbers for their tabletop stuff. So I would think that it would be short-sighted, and it actually seems like incompetence if you didn't expect the hit to happen in tabletop as well.
Yeah, so Polygon's not going into details as to who exactly got laid off, but I did find a list on a forum.
There is a list? Okay.
There is a list. Yeah, so it's weird because they did mention that this hedge fund, Alta Fox, tried to get Wizards to spin off in 2022.
Yes, I remember that. We talked about that. We did a video on it.
Yeah, to basically go independent again, because Wizards was an independent company, and then Hasbro absorbed them, and Wizards, of course, bought TSR back in the day, which is how they wound up with Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. And then Hasbro bought them, and everything went to hell in a handbasket, right? But yeah, if that had happened, I have to wonder if they wouldn't have been as impacted as they have been. But again, a lot of people have been turning away from D&D for various reasons, whether it's quote unquote wokeness or whether it's over the OGL 1.1 debacle. saying that if you make fan-created stuff that they basically own your shit, or they're mad about Hasbro sending the Pinkertons to your house if you reviewed cards a couple of weeks early.
They've been like, changing everything about different classes and everything else because
everything's racist, everything's offensive.
Everything's problematic. Even people who identify that way were like, that's stupid.
Yeah,
right. But
Polygon reached out to the tabletop teams impacted by the layoffs, including Avalon Hill, Magic the Gathering team, and Dungeons and Dragons. One rep said that the company is not sharing breakdowns on geography or teams out of respect for employees. Impacted workers are expected to be contacted by the end of the business day Tuesday. Well, this is the list, apparently, coming from N-World. This is who's getting laid off.
Oh, you actually know?
Yeah, they know. So, the issues appear to largely affect Hasbro's toy sale business. However, various folks working in D&D at WotC have started making statements.
Okay, so these are just the people that have made statements that they know of. Okay.
That they know of. These are people we know that are confirmed that they're gone. Now, there could be a lot of other people that are gone that have not said anything publicly.
They're not saying anything, yeah.
Or they gagged them. They said, don't you dare say anything. D&D designer Dan Dillon. Today is my last day at Wizards. Not sure what's next. We have a graphic designer. We have
WotC and D&D.
WotC and D&D. Creator relations, Dixon Dubo. Art director, Bree Heiss.
Wizards.
Senior development editor. This is 4 other people on the D&D team who were confirmed that they were affected. But they'll have to talk about it if they want to talk about it. D&D Beyond producer and host, Amy Dallin. I'm deeply proud of the work I got to do at D&D Beyond and Wizards. Now, they bought D&D Beyond. That was actually a fan site, and they bought it, and they want to kind of integrate that into their
These are all like WotC people.
Yes.
Larry Fromm, who was a senior communications manager, let go of Wizards of the Coast today.
Yes.
Mike Merles, he was senior management at D&D, but he's on the Magic the Gathering team.
Yeah, that shocked a lot of people, I guess. I guess he's kind of a big wig over there. Yeah, I was laid off by WotC. Yeah, I'm doing fine, and I'm excited by what's to come. We have David McDarby, game designer on Magic the Gathering. Talent manager.
Again, WotC.
D&D art. Wow. D&D's art manager. Yesterday was surprisingly my last day of work at Wizards. See the one who greenlit the AI art? Or they decide they don't need an art director or an art manager if they're just going to use AI art from here on out? Wow. Can't even utter a snarky quip or lighthearted anecdote. I'm just feeling gutted.
Yeah, and I do feel bad. I'm going to make it very clear. We do feel really bad for these people, even though some of them probably deserve it because they made really bad choices. We do feel bad for these people because, it's right before Christmas.
Right? Yeah. The timing is shit. I mean, it really is.
Hanukkah was still going on, too. Some people might be Jewish or whatever. And this is happening, right now. And it is a really, really, really piss poor time. And upper people at Hasbro, like Cox, should be the ones that should be responsible for making bad choices. And, of course, they never are. So.
Wow. So we've got Chris Lindsay, created the DMs Guild, licensing and publishing manager, community manager, art director, associate system. Wow, these are not like grunt workers.
No.
Associate systems administrator, senior data scientist, an engineer, a producer, director of Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond Creative and Production, program manager, D&D Beyond director.
Are they going to sell it?
I think they're going to sell it.
Because here's my thing. They're getting rid of a lot of people that would be like, you would get rid of these people if you're going to sell it. Like you might use, because some of these jobs are, you'd still need these people.
Yeah.
Unless they have a lot of them under that category.
Well, okay, so
you'd still need some of these people, especially the ones you said were big names people were surprised by, because usually those would be like the last people you think they get rid of. If that's true, I have to wonder, you usually don't get rid of those people unless you think they're going to be a speed bump on the way to a sale.
Yeah, so let's talk about this article that just got published. This is on Gizmodo. 2023 should have been D&D's best year until it wasn't. And they talk about the failure of the movie.
Yeah, which was their own doing.
Yeah, all the debacles that they've found themselves in
have been mostly their own doing.
And the only bright spot they've actually had is Baldur's Gate 3, which they really didn't have much to do with. That was Larian Studios. So it's almost like Hasbro's looking at like, well, we can just make video games. That's what we want to do. We don't need the tabletop.
Well, they've hired people that worked in video games and been making them in charge that they did video games. So they're keeping things, they're getting rid of, the tabletop version to go with the video game route, which is also possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy though,
Well,
because
it won all kinds of awards of the game. I mean,
it won like
it was
everything.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
It
everything it was
dominated
nominated
it.
for.
I mean, come on, you could fuck a bear.
Who doesn't want to fuck a bear?
I'm just like, this game has everything.
It does. It's got bear fucking in it and everything. Yeah, but they're talking about the OGL.
I think there was a mistake. Someone spelled bare ass instead of spelling it B-A-R-E. They spelled it B-E-A-R, and they just went with it.
God. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so they're talking about the AI controversy, the OGL controversy, the Pinkerton controversy. Chris Cox, who personally made $9.4 million last year.
Actually, that's low for a CEO, I thought, but
had to lay off 1,100 people. Now, here's the thing. You're talking about sales. And there was a rumor like 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, no, it was before the pandemic. And I think it was ICV2.
It all blends together.
It all blends together, right? 2020 it lasted for like 4 years.
I still think it is 2020. Anyway.
But it was in ICV2. And they said that they thought Wizards of the Coast, or D&D in particular, was being cleaned up to have curbside appeal to be sold off to a company like Tencent.
I do remember that. We talked about that several times.
And now it seems like, because Cox he's from Microsoft, and so is
that dumbass woman. What's her name?
Williams, Cynthia Williams.
Yeah,
she's in charge. Yeah, she's also from Microsoft. They're video game people. They clearly want to take D&D in a video game direction because they're trying to push everybody into virtual tabletop and microtransactions and all that stuff. And now that Baldur's Gate 3 did very, very well, they're probably looking at that again and being like, yeah, we'll just do more of this. We don't even need the tabletop shit. We'll just do video games, or we'll license it out or something, or they'll just take the whole damn thing and sell it off. And I think you're right. I think they're prepping for...
They're doing something, one or the other.
They're up to something.
It's one of the two.
And it might be a case of like, this is one of the most valuable things they have, but to them it's not. They talked about the core Hasbro assets and how they want to return to that. But again, D&D was something they bought. And it came from, and even Wizards didn't create D&D, it came from TSR. And so, I mean, I could totally see them being like, yeah, this isn't one of our core, like, in-house, homegrown assets. Let's just sell it off. I mean, now that, they're getting black eyes all over the place, or dumping the shit off in Ollie's.
After Baldur's Gate, I'm thinking they're more going to double down into it for gaming. That's what I think they're going to. I mean, I think if they sell off some, it might be aspects that they don't need for gaming, but I don't know. Something's up. I'm just telling you, it's one of the two things, because you don't gut something like this unless you plan on making some major changes.
Yeah, they're making major changes for sure. So watch this space. I think we're going to see the implosion, the unfortunate implosion of D&D. I think the D&D brand will live on in some form, but as far as actual tabletop role playing, I think you're going to have to get your fix from other companies at this point, because I don't think Hasbro's really interested in keeping things going the way that they've been going. It's very clear that they're not. We're going to wrap this up. I think we're going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.